Good afternoon. Today, I will be providing a usability assessment of the Red Robin online website. The purpose of this project was to evaluate the usability of Red Robin's desktop and mobile websites for online ordering and in-store pickup, and to provide recommendations and solutions for improvement to the desktop and mobile site and increase sales through online ordering as a result. For this study, the researcher was tasked with ordering an appetizer, in this case fried pickles, and a tavern burger, in this case a Pig Out Tavern Double, from both the desktop and mobile website of Red Robin. The researcher was then tasked to complete the checkout of the order with an in-store pickup with the Red Robin in Port Orange. Firstly, the researcher was to find the desktop homepage. This was fairly easy, in that the researcher was only required to search Red Robin in Google, and it popped up. First thing one will notice when looking for the website is that online ordering is not a focus of the website, and the website is also somewhat cluttered. Online ordering is instead in the left corner inside of these vertical columns, when one would expect it to be centered. The clutteredness is also violating one of Nielsen's 10 usability heuristics, in that a website should be aesthetically and minimalist design when created. This is somewhat cluttered with various news and a scrolling news bar and various other things one could find when the main purpose of the website would be to online ordering, not necessarily merchandise. In order to find the Red Robin for Port Orange on desktop, all the researcher had to do was type in the zip code, and the website came up, and the location came up. On mobile, it was a little harder to find the website homepage. First, the researcher searched through the App Store in thoughts that the website, that there would be a mobile app of Red Robin online ordering. There was not. Instead, they were forced to use the browser. And whilst online ordering is still lesser focus, it is at least easier to find and more convenient for the user. And similar to the desktop, all that was required was for the researcher to type in the zip code in order to find it. This is a comparison of the menus from both the desktop and the mobile site. In this instance, one will see that the mobile site is much more minimalistic and basic because it's only using textual data, whereas the desktop is using a variety of pictures as well as text. But one problem with the desktop version of the menu is excessive scrolling, as evident by this video. As one can see, in just the gourmet burgers alone, the scrolling is way too excessive, and thus it is much harder for a user to go through it. Once I returned to the menu, I found my appetizer fairly easily, and I found fried pickles. And with that, it came a pop-up which allowed me to customize and then add to the cart. Here is currently the layout of both the mobile and the desktop after having added my fried pickles to the cart. Desktop took me right back to the menu, which allowed me to add further items. Mobile took a different approach and instead had me go to the cart, and it gave me the option to either check out or add more items, instead of taking me directly back to the menu. This isn't quite what I expected, and so it greatly affected the visibility of the system status, because it made me think as if I was going to check out after only one item, instead of allowing me to choose that. Another issue I noticed with both the mobile and the desktop was that pricing on the menu seemed very inconsistent. For some reason, tavern burgers had no indication of their prices on them, whereas every other item on the menu in this direct comparison, Finest Burgers, had a price. In order to find the price of the tavern burgers, one had to actually click on the item and then attempt to add it to their cart. This is a violation of Nielsen's consistency and standards in his heuristic evaluation of the usability website. The desktop customization was somewhat expected. It was a little tedious and there was scrolling, similar to the actual menu. And this is the first time we actually see the price of a tavern burger, like as previously stated. It's still not fully clear what is the reason for this, but in terms of customization, this is a fairly straightforward and easy to use aspect. The mobile website's a little different in that, once again, it's not using any pictures and instead relying only on text. Because of this, a lot of the items are scroll for customization. This could be much harder for a user in that it might be easier to miss a customization option because of the scrolling, as opposed to it all being laid out in front of them, like the desktop customization. Another interesting comparison is with the suggestive items comparison, in that, once again, all the items are the exact same. The only difference is the pictures and the fact that for mobile, it is a direct link, whereas for desktop, it was a pop-up, so that you have no excuse, you have no reason, there's nothing you can do to avoid it on mobile, whereas in desktop, you can just exit out when going to the cart. One thing with checkout on the desktop that seemed to have been a problem was excessive scrolling again. One would expect this screen to have a next button or a continue button, but instead it scrolls down when one wants to continue to check out. And from there you have three choices. You can log into your account, you can create an account, or you can check out as a guest. For the purpose of this study, I checked out as a guest. Another thing that's fairly odd is the lack of cash option or pay in store. The desktop and mobile websites both only allow for either a credit card or a Red Robin gift card in order to pay for their food. It does not allow for any cash options, unlike other websites. One thing that was even more interesting about both the desktop, well, more the desktop than the mobile, was once one enters their credit card information, this tip sequence will arise. And if one were to accidentally click on it, there is no way to remove it. The only way that I was found to be able to remove this was through refreshing the page. And this, once again, violates another one of Nielsen's usability heuristics, in that the user control and freedom. And that there's no way for the user to mark off or switch off of this. And so they're almost forced to tip. Checkout mobile was very similar in the cash and the credit card options, except its default, for some reason, is a Red Robin gift card, and you have to physically add your credit card. With that, you get a pop-up window. I do not understand why you would not have a drop-down like you do on the desktop. And this, too, can lead to mistakes, because one doesn't know if you're supposed to exit or if you're supposed to hit apply. The X is a little more apparent, but when you exit it, you lose the credit card information, and you're forced to start again. And once again, you have the same tip issue with the credit card, but being aware from the previous experience that you could not click off of it, I did not, but the problem still persists. After you reviewed this, it allowed for a submit button, and this is the screen to both the desktop and the mobile telling me that my order had been placed. What's very interesting, it says contact the restaurant directly below, but it gives no number on either the desktop or the mobile as to whom I'm to call. It only tells me the name of the web restaurant. So here are some key takeaways and issues that I had with the Red Robin website. The first was with the homepage, the desktop. As specifically stated earlier, the online order is not front and centered. Thus, it's a little easy to miss. There's no app for the mobile site, but luckily the mobile site and online ordering is fairly easy to find. But they're both still cluttered, and that needs to be changed. The menu, on the desktop you have excessive scrolling. On the mobile, you have a lot of drop-down lists, but they lack pictures. And after one item was added to the cart, it kind of took me to checkout, and that's unexpected. And both had those price inconsistencies with the burgers, with no justification as to why. In the checkout, once again, in the desktop, you had excessive scrolling, and the mobile, there was no drop-down for the credit card, instead opened as a pop-up, which I made the mistake of hitting the exit on the first time. And on both, you can't click off of the tip, and there's no pay in store or cash option. So here are some solutions and recommendations I have in order to alleviate these problems. The first is the desktop. Online ordering should be the focal point of the website, and for mobile, there should be a design of the app for online ordering. That's much easier, and especially if I'm online ordering, having an app when I'm out and about would make it much easier to order. And both should have less clutter. So here's our website, our desktop before the solutions to change. And here's our desktop now. With the online ordering much more focal point. It's still on the left, but here it's much easier for the user to find and start working. Next solutions are to the menu. In the desktop, you should present the items in a horizontal fashion to lessen scrolling. And on mobile, present the pictures of the items from the drop-down. And on both, give the prices to all items instead of having to add it in the cart to find it. This is specifically with the tavern burgers. So as we can see, the tavern burgers are now shown horizontally as opposed to vertically, and there's no excess scrolling. And the prices are also now here. And when one clicks on the burger, like so, they are now given all the information that was previously available to the menu, and they have an add to cart button, so that it alleviates the excessive scrolling from the menu. And the last major area that needed to be changed was the checkout. In the desktop, they should really allow for a payment in a drop-down or an add a next button to reduce the excessive scrolling. And in mobile, they should put a CC option as a drop-down to reduce the possibility of an error, like I had with the X. On both, they should add a pay in cash or a pay in store option, and all for a question asking yes, no to tip, and then to give the percentages. So here's the pay in cash option, and with the credit card, here's the add tip. In this situation, we are saying yes, we want to add a tip, and it's giving us the expected percentages. Overall conclusions: the Red Robin website isn't terrible, but it can be improved. It violated 4 of Nielsen's heuristic guidelines. By following these recommendations and solutions, the usability of the Red Robin website will improve, and as will sales, because people will no longer be deterred from using it, and thus they will order it and make money from it for the company. Thank you.